I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.
I love to see my people party with me, man. Good to see you, Black Brown, Sweet Nikita, Miss Rhonda. Hey, happy birthday, Miss J. Hey, Rhea, Sweet Sharita.
What up, Kafari? What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody?
All night long, say what? That's right, baby.
Just a little warm up.
Hey, Janine, well, guess what? Hey, when I see you, yeah.
Come on in, everybody.
I get a little happy. Hey, Black Brown,
Welcome,
I get
welcome,
a little
welcome.
happy when I see you. What? Baby, when I see you, yeah. I get a little happy. Hey, Francine, I get a little happy when you party with me. Well, guess what? When I see you, yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
and
Jay.
back home
Hey,
tonight.
Randy.
VybeBand is playing tonight. I think at Aqua, somewhere.
Guess what? When I see you, yeah. Hey, Cole, I get a little happy. Happy when I see you. What? When I see you, yeah.
Yes, welcome, everybody. Saludos también.
Listen, fellas, I put your picture on my mirror. Start to blush when somebody says your name. And my stomach is a pain. See you walk in my direction, I go the other way. I start to stutter when I speak. Try to stand on my knees, go weak. What's happening to me? Anybody can you tell me what it means? I lay my head on my pillow. He got me staring out the window. Wish on a star for a sign.
No doubt, no doubt. No doubt.
See your face, I hear my favorite song. Should I send an email?
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
I wonder if you know, or do you have a clue? Yeah, I lay my head on my pillow. He got me staring out the window. Was on a star for a sign. That's the reason why. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, so.
Marley, so sexy boy. When I see you. Listen, something now is taking over me. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna run. I'm just gonna stand here and see. Oh yeah, yeah.
No doubt.
Sing it so sexy, boy. Yeah. Oh no. When I see you. Hey, Fox, hold me down. Listen. Well, guess what? When I see you. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody, come on in. It's always good to get a little fun before we get to some
party with me.
little
Hey,
business.
Janine, when I see you, yeah, I get a little happy. Hey, Tony, I get a little happy when you party with me. Hey, Tim, when I see
You in DC tonight, you can go
I
find
get a
them.
little happy. Hey,
VybeBand.
Marlon, I get a little happy when you party with me. Hey, Jay, when I see
probably
you,
Maryland.
I get a little happy. Hey, Nico, I get a little happy when I see you. What? Hey, when I see you, yeah. Hey, Playboy,
I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like. Yes. What's up, everybody? I just always like to, whenever we get a chance, to start off with the good vibe band. And that video for me captures everything. It's one of my favorite bands. The keyboardist plays at the church that my man sings at. I've seen them perform many, many times. And that video, in terms of the grown folks go-go, captures so much of what I love about go-go, being at the go-go. Including that one dude who was just standing there trying so desperately to maintain his cool. Oh, I love it. But that pocket, I mean, it's just yes. It's just undeniable. But no question. And that's why, Deborah's not wrong. I do need to play. We're going to get to some Hector Lavoe at some point. But that's why I got this groove right here. I know it's Mark Anthony slowed down over VybeBand Pocket in a yours truly special mix. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, we're gonna come back at some point. We're gonna do some Hector Lavoe. Because salsa is my second favorite pocket. But anyway, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Mix What I Like here at Black Power Media. Again, I'm Jared Ball, very happy to be your host. Still on the road, wrapped up today the Summer Institute of the American Association of University Professors. It's been fantastic. I've learned a lot. Admittedly, not the political space that we develop and encapsulate here, or yeah, somewhat, I guess, encapsulate, but try to represent here. But nonetheless, a lot of good people trying to do a lot of good work. And I'm definitely going to, in the coming days, spend some time and go through what is going on here with you all, because, and shout out to a lot of good faculty. We're often misrepresented in the zeitgeist, in the popular culture, and there's a lot of people out here suffering in this profession. But it's good to be around folks who are organized and organizing and trying to unionize and defend workers' rights. That's ultimately what it is. So anyway, but tonight, a number of people sent me this story. I read it, and from the Insider. And admittedly, I haven't done a deep dive, but I think the story is unfortunately kind of the regular, not surprising, and speaks to why so much of what is happening here and what's happening on BPM is so important, because the popular forms of organizing and what it means to be an activist and an organizer is a mess. So I'll just go through this story that came out in the Business Insider. And as it says here, right at the top, one of the U.S.'s largest racial justice organizations is slashing its budget and laying off staff after overspending on lavish perks. So it reads very much like what has been coming out around Black Lives Matter lately, where a bunch of well-paid activists are chilling. And I think it's unfortunate. And I think definitely worth noting that this is happening right after the passing of Dr. Mutulu Shakur, who's getting much more commemoration and tribute coming up in the next few days with Kalanji and Tandasizwe and others. So make sure you have the bell rung on this platform, and you've subscribed, and you're a member, and you're supporting on Patreon, and you're sharing and liking and commenting and doing all the things to help us continue to grow. But it's ridiculous, and I'm probably going to repeat this, make it a refrain of this discussion, that political prisoners languish in prison doing the real work of revolution and never see the perks by design that go to folks, as we'll read about here. And it is just, it's ridiculous, to say the least. So I'll make this a little bit bigger here. Color of Change touts itself as the US's largest online racial justice organization and says it has over 7 million members. Since 2006, the pioneering group has weighed in on issues from bias in Hollywood to the recent killing of Jordan Neely on a New York City subway car. And again, much like a lot of these stories read, after the summer 2020 killing of George Floyd, the organization partnered with Airbnb to address racism on the platform. And it worked with the Recording Academy to promote positive social change within the music industry. Its president, Rashad Robinson, became a regular media presence, including an appearance with Oprah and a profile in Forbes. So read differently, I would argue it's after George Floyd was killed, Color of Change took advantage of yet another lynching, another brutal police killing, and went straight to the corporate world and said, let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. Let's fix racism at Airbnb. And we're going to promote positive social change within the music industry. I mean, that's almost laughable given the history of the music industry and where it has gone over the last, I don't know, however many decades, to think that this is anything other than a money grab. I really can't get rid of this. They are the Business Insider. So, the increased attention drove a significant uptick in funding. Duh. And we've covered this before here. The $50 billion that was doled out from corporations after the killing of George Floyd to assist in non-profiteering. What was it? A bunch of it was financial literacy and investment and small business, so on and so forth. But this is the kind of nonsense that was, of course, encouraged. So, yeah, absolutely, there's an uptick in funding. Color of Change collected over $30 million in donations between its two nonprofit arms in the first 6 months of 2020 alone, more than it had raised in any prior full year. So, meanwhile, our comrades here at BPM, Kamal specifically, is running this that you can sign up for at just go to blackpowermedia.org to the donation page and you'll find all the links there. But this Panther Fund, so that people like Dr. Mutulu Shakur can get out of prison and have a few dollars to their name. Meanwhile, these folks are collecting $30 million in white guilt and business money. Again, I mentioned it the other day. Oh my goodness. Did you all, you've got to see the movie Syriana. It's one of the few movies that I really, really, and without spoiling, just think of the line, how much for my other kid? That's where we are with this. How much for my other son? Dollars were spent on executive salaries, high-profile events, consultants, and projects with dubious connections to tangible impacts on social justice. Yeah, that's saying it nicely. Dubious connections to tangible impacts on social justice when there has been no tangible impact in a positive way. I mean, so yeah. Now the civil rights organization is facing. By the way, if anybody is dissatisfied with my reading of this, the link to this is already in the show description. Now the civil rights organization is facing financial turbulence, according to interviews with more than 30 current and former staff members, managers, directors, executives, and contractors across almost every team at Color of Change, as well as meeting recordings, internal communications, and other documentation reviewed by Insider. In a Medium post published after Insider sent over the results of its reporting, the board chairs wrote that the organization was cutting its budget by $20 million, going back to pre-2020 levels. Their post, published June 22nd, served as the first official communication to most staff members that budget and staff cuts were imminent. A week later, 49 staffers were laid off. I mean, who could who could sustain who could sustain anyway? Oh man. So by the way, this is where I got the from R. Nicole here and their tweet. This is where I got the thumbnail, Color of Capitalism. My former employer at Color of Change has been laying people off and refusing to bargain on severance. They're declaring an impasse, so they pay as little as possible at some point in the future. Today they let go of 49 people at once. It's Color of Capitalism over there. Documents obtained by insiders show board-approved annual budgets of about $43 million a year for the past 2 years, despite annual cash receipts of about $26 million. So they're spending more than they can take in. I don't know, maybe there was an assumption that, hey, the police got to keep policing. Somebody else got to get killed. Going back to Syriana, how much for my other kid? I'll give you $100 million for your other son. A November 2021 financial report found the organization spent $1.52 for each dollar raised. So I'm no mathematician, but like Fred Hampton said, get answers that don't answer, questions that don't question. This, and you get math that don't math. If you spend $1.52 and only raise $1, there's a hole in the bucket. I think culturally, internally, we've been very used to being kind of the big fish and like having the money. One manager told her staff during a recorded meeting in December, emphasizing the need to reduce spending. I almost compare it to like the music industry in the 90s, like when everybody was like champagne popping on boats in the videos. Yeah. Imagine that. Hold on. Imagine that. Let's imagine that. Hold on. I don't want to get the hold on. I don't want to get the copyright. Hold on. Oh, it's terrible that we can't share more than one thing at a time. Oh my good. But imagine this is what I was thinking of as I was reading it. This is what Color of Change was. This is this is Color of Change. Oh, I forgot Melissa Ford was in this video. Anyway, this is what I picture them. Meanwhile, just like in this video, real life blackness is the exact opposite all over the world, but you wouldn't know it if you was in Color of Change. If you was in the offices of Color of Change, this is what it was like. This is what she said, popping bottles. But that was the exact video I thought of when I read that story the first time. I was like, big pimp, somebody getting killed, they getting shot in the street, but we get more to eat. How did Dame do his dance like this? Oh my God. Anyway, Color of Change is on solid financial footing and will be going forward, he said in the Medium post. This is, who are they talking about? Andre Banks. What I will say is that in our last fiscal year budget, we did set a budget that was too ambitious. Andre Banks, the board chair of the organization's 501c3, the Color of Change Education Fund, said in an interview. Our projections and our finance infrastructure actually failed us a bit here in both capturing some of the challenges in working to quickly pivot. I love the language. It failed us a bit, just a bit, just a wee bit, just a wee bit. In a written statement, Color of Change also claimed insiders' reporting contained inaccuracies. It didn't send any details in support of this claim, despite multiple requests from Insider. It also hasn't provided any recent charitable tax filings or independent financial audits. Spending was already high before Floyd's killing, roughly $47 million from 2017 to 2019, compared with revenue of about $52 million. God, my God, this is honestly, I don't pay attention enough. I had zero idea that this was the level. I knew they were doing something. I mean, they must have been, but I had no idea that this is what they're. But despite internal reports of deficits going back to 2021, Rashad Robinson and other leaders at the organization have been slow to rein in the spending. And we're going to see why in a minute. Why would you want to rein it in when you making what they're making? Color of Change is on the hook for more than $8 million in consultant expenses for the current fiscal year and over $1.7 million in rent for offices with custom furniture in Oakland, California, New York, and Washington, D.C., even though most of the staff has been working remotely since 2020, according to a breakdown of expenses reviewed by Insider. Custom furniture. I don't know about Oakland. I can only assume, but New York and D.C., especially the new D.C., that's a lot of money. The consultant who started working with Color of Change in 2022 worked on videos that cost the organization tens of thousands of dollars, but many have only a few hundred views on each YouTube. A few hundred views each on YouTube. Though they were intended for promotional purposes, some appeared to sit unused. So they're just spending money on stuff for what? Here's more. Ben O'Keefe, a media producer who worked for Color of Change for 5 months in 2019, said spending was rampant while he was with the organization. He said roughly $25,000 was spent per episode of a podcast he produced that had fewer than 300 monthly listeners. So this is so for like this class of activists. I mean, seriously, this is disgusting. So Black people being just abused is just money. $25,000 per podcast episode is spent on that? What? And they only got 300 monthly listeners? Yo, remixers, BPM fam, we appreciate you because we don't make nowhere near nothing like that. And we have quite a bit more of an audience, and we don't 25,000. So this episode we're doing right here, I'm trying to look for what it. I mean, yes, Matt Damon and George Clooney and Syriana, but don't be confused. This is them before they fully gave up on their careers and just took the money and ran. Like, this is when I think they still thought they had hope in the movie industry. They hadn't fully capitulated. They thought they were doing some good. And that movie is damn good. How much for the other kid? And that's what this whole article, I've been thinking about it the whole time I'm reading this, between Big Pimpin' Video and that movie, how much for my other kid? It's gross. $25,000 per episode for nobody to be listening. Even, I mean, I don't care if you had Joe Rogan numbers. $25,000 per episode is absurd when the money is being raised ostensibly to help Black people, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, money was never an object, which sounds like a good thing until you start to understand that people are donating $5 a month and it's all they have, O'Keefe said. It's being spent on fancy meals and extravagant offices, not much else. Now, this to me is like another Barack Obama 2008 election campaign statement. Or maybe even pick a candidate. This idea, their campaigns are not being run on the people sending $5 a month. I'm sorry, no disrespect, but that's not what, it's helpful, I'm sure, but that's not the money that they're dealing with. The $40-50 million that they're budgeting is not coming from people sending $5 a month. It's coming from corporations, foundations, whoever the hell else. And then it's being spent on fancy meals and extravagant offices and not much else. Salah Muhammad, a former regional manager who was laid off in the spring, said he witnessed rampant spending and lacks controls on accounting. He said the organization spent $200,000 on a high-profile event at Miami's Art Basel to highlight public safety through art. Still, the organization wouldn't approve $5,000 to finance a coat drive for people without housing in Minneapolis during the winter of 2021. They spent it on carnivals at Martha's Vineyard, where Color of Change said, well, that was only $7,000 to execute, but that was more than you wouldn't spend on people without without housing. I mean, and then we're not even at the best part of this article yet. So just remember all of this and keep that same energy when you're focused on them spending $200,000 on art and festivals and not willing to spend $5,000 on coats for the houseless. And then they're at Martha's Vineyard with $7,000, while according to Insider, they paid almost $29,000 for a kids carnival at Martha's Vineyard. Because at Martha's Vineyard, that's like the seat of blackness. It's like because that's what Mos Def was talking about once upon a time when he had that line, blacker than the back of your neck, right? It was Martha's. Oh no, it was a pre-gentrified Brooklyn. No. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's good Lord. As I told somebody one of the people who sent me this story, this is my, personally, selfishly, this is Jared's 2023 I Told You So year tour continued. Remember when I shared my little exchange with Color of Change and how it went? And now I'm not surprised. There was no money to fund a project that we built, that I built. There was no money for that. They wanted to move on from that. And then as soon as I raised the question, they shouted at me in an email, don't harass our harass. I emailed one mutual friend one time asking, hey, what could have happened to the project? Now I see why. For an organization that says they're doing all of these things to make the world more humane, a less hostile place for Black people, it seems as though they're more aligned with wanting to throw an elaborate party, Muhammad said. And that was not part of the proposal I developed, for sure. Throughout this turmoil, one former staff member and two current high-level staffers with direct knowledge felt board members seemed more concerned with procuring rooms for expensive hotels with posh amenities during meetings and retreats than addressing internal issues. Color of Change disputed this. These staffers said they believed board members had been lax in their oversight because of their deep personal connections to Robinson. He is, for example, godfather to the colorofchange.org board chair, Heather McGee's child. In 2017, the board, citing safety concerns, began paying for Robinson's high-rise apartment in a Manhattan building for private security. Staffers also say, oh man, hold on, oh my God. I don't. In 2017, the board, citing safety concerns, began paying for Robinson's high-rise apartment in a Manhattan building and for private security. Staffers also said the organization paid for a luxury car service. Safety concerns required Manhattan buildings and high-rise apartments and private security and luxury car services. Whew. In 2017, Dr. Mutulu Shakur was still in prison. But Rashad Robinson had safety concerns requiring a Manhattan building, private security, and luxury car service. In response to questions about payments for the apartment, security service, and luxury car service, Color of Change provided a document from 2020 showing unanimous approval by the board to pay $7,350 a month for his residence through January 2022, along with an assessment by a security consultant. The consultant found a moderate level of risk in 2017 and had upgraded the assessment to an unparalleled level of risk in 2020. As support, the organization included 6 archived 2020 posts from 4chan in which Robinson's name is listed with dozens of other activists with no threats of violence. Exactly. $7,350 a month. We forced him to move out of his home, Banks, the Color of Change Education Fund chair, said. He did not ask for this. It was something that we pushed him to do in order to secure his safety. Well, with all due respect, what is Banks' first name? Who's Banks? With all due respect, it doesn't matter. With whatever level of respect would be appropriate for this ridiculousness, if this is in fact the decision of the board, it is not. It shouldn't be seen as a defense of Robinson. It should be seen as evidence of the complete ineptitude of the board. And yet this is being said as if to defend Robinson. All of you look ridiculous for that. 2 years later, in 2019, the board increased Robinson's base salary. I had to read this twice because they agreed in 2019 to increase his base salary by $114,000, not two, and awarded him a $73,000 bonus, giving him a total compensation above $458,000, nearly $125,000 more than the president of the NAACP for that year. As if that would, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Because if they're making that much money, that's fraud. That's ridiculous too. According to Color of Change's 2019 charitable filings, Color of Change didn't report executive salaries on his 2020 charitable filings and hasn't released its 2021 and 2022 filings. So his base salary was up to $458,000, and I just did a quick Google search when I read that the second time, because at first I thought it was saying his salary is upped to 114. No, it was $114,000 was added to his already existing base salary. The amount of U.S. workers who make more than $500,000 a year, and this is just, I admit this is slightly under that, but this puts him in the 0.7 percentile. Now, I understand this is not a meritocracy. Capitalism is not a meritocracy. The United States is not a meritocracy. But in what world does this man, or maybe any man, do enough work in defense, particularly of Black people, that is worthy of that level? Remember when Dr. John Henrik Clarke said that no African leaders should drive in a Mercedes if their country isn't making them? Anyway, many current and former staffers said they found Robinson to be more concerned with using Color of Change resources to advance his personal brand than with promoting racial justice. It was said that a photo shoot was once scrapped because there wasn't a fedora on hand that suited his tastes. Color of Change disputed this. Robinson refused to wear clothing provided by one of the designers unless it was tailored for him. I've been doing my best to make it clear that it is impossible for me to get a suit off the rack, he wrote in a coordination email chain after daily inquiries about his outfit. It's impossible for me to get a suit off the rack. You making $400,000 a year, I get it. With private security in your Manhattan apartment, high rise, because your risk assessment was said to be unparalleled. Get the a sizable chunk of spending also went to white-led consultant groups. Duh. Millions went to public relations firms Fenton Communications and Berlin Rosen, and extensive resources were given to Ryan Sensor, a white man who helps draft Robinson's opinion pieces, speeches, and book chapters, and contributes to many aspects of Color of Change strategic mission. Sensor's consultant. So this is exactly what we talk about on Earn Your Liberation every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern. This is what Black capitalism and Black business and Black entrepreneurialism ultimately leads to. Attracting white advertising, white investment, and the use of, in this case, white public relations firms to make sure that you are, I mean, and why wouldn't you hire white PR firms? Because your target audience are white, affluent funders. I mean, it stands to perfectly to reason. You're trying to get him on MSNBC and CNN and Oprah with, as Dr. Burrows points out, with her half-owned network or whatever it was at the time. I don't know what it is anymore. So, of course, Sensors Consulting Company was paid $118,000 in 2018. I was just thinking what could have been done with $118,000 in 2018 for Dr. Mutulu Shakur's legal defense or his medical or his, or I don't know. But no. That because it stands to reason. They have to get a white PR consulting company to help them attract more white, affluent corporate funding. By 2022, the contract had grown to $265,000. Documents reviewed by insiders show that it was contracted for at least $295,000 in 2023 and has been paid at least another $15,000 by the Color of Change PAC this year, making his work some of the longest running and best compensated at the organization. I love that. That's a great line. So this white man and his PR firm are some of the longest running and best compensated by the Color of Change. Half a dozen current and former workers, all of whom are black, said they witnessed or experienced Sensor putting down the work of the mostly black staff and suggesting that he was more skilled at communicating to communities of color. 3 of the workers, all women, also said he had singled out black women. He very frequently made clear that he thought he knew how to talk to black people better than black people, the media producer O'Keefe said. Like any consultant or PR firm who works on communications, I contribute to content at the direction of Rashad or other staff based on their input, ideas, goals, and strategies, Sensor told Insider in an email statement. Saying or even implying that I wholly write Rashad Robinson's opinion pieces, speeches, book chapters is not true and is not only defamatory, but also reinforces a deeply racist trope that there's a white person behind a black leader's vision, ideas, or success. I picture them laughing as they wrote this, because when I just picture him saying, you know damn well I write all of Robinson's stuff, but how dare you call it out? That's racist. Of course I write that stuff. But you're racist for calling it out. Not only would I never tell any black person on staff that they don't effectively communicate to communities of color and have never done so, I am not even involved in shaping those communications, he wrote. Emails and other exchanges obtained by Insider show that he helps draft messages to funders, and helps shape Color of Change communications, also In February, the organization leased a Hollywood warehouse to house the project's 19 offerings, such as interactive workshops, exhibits, and event spaces. The rent totaled $14,000 a month, and $76,000 was a deposit paid on signing. $14,000 a month. Dang. Nevertheless, the organization has tried to put a positive spin on the financial struggles. In its recent Medium post, the board chair wrote, "We hope Color of Change's story can serve as both a lesson and an inspiration to other organizations." End quote. We hope so too. Yo. Anyway, so that was it. I mean, I think it's obviously this is the exact goal of the historic rise of the nonprofit as a replacement for genuine grassroots. It is also, by the way, why I keep wanting to make this argument around rejecting the notion that we need money to build movements. With all that money, they built nothing. All that ends up happening when money gets flooded in to certain organizations and groups is just what we've seen here. And we're never going to be able to keep up. If there's anything related to this that I'm learning this about what's happening here this weekend is that even among white and many other groups of people that are involved in this effort here, but even among white American affluent middle class, what could in some cases are elite academics, there's no power financially. The only power is in the collective organizing ability of the majority of us who are being abused. The only time you need money is when you want to put people in penthouses and give them securities teams and stuff like that, and money that they can invest in PR and consultants. We don't need that. It's not that we need no resources. It's not that resources aren't important. It's that this idea that we're gonna invest and we're gonna fund and we're gonna circulate and whatever. We're not going to. We have to have more genuine grassroots effort and involvement of more of us committed to getting off cameras, getting to spaces where we are actually physically in each other's face in a appropriate way and build. That's what I mean. This otherwise we just this is what the nonprofit community was developed to do, to get funded to become the spokespeople for all the various movements. I mean, again, I can't keep helping with this juxtaposition, this idea that Matulu Shakur is and others are just rotting away. Jamil Alameen is still locked up. Mumia, Leonard Peltier, Veronza Bowers. I mean, these folks are still locked up. And clowns are running around here on everybody's TV with everybody's money in their pocket, speaking on behalf of all of these movements. And it does trickle down why I've been and others around here been critical of certain academics and other pockets who claim to be speaking for these radical movements. And it's just a money grab, a way to elevate oneself. I mean, it's crazy. And then you come here, and it's a lot of people who they're never going to be on anybody's TV. They're never going to be on anybody's blog or video. They're never going to be anywhere. Don't want to be. And they recognize even where they're coming from communities with way more resources and political power, they realize what it is. Now they don't have the right analysis. We'll talk about that. I don't think they haven't all figured out, but they at least have that part figured out. We have to build with each other. And it does, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna front. It feels good to know just by becoming a member of the American Association of University Professors, which is now merged with the American Federation of Teachers, that creates a unionized connection with a broader labor struggle and puts me and other members as marginalized and worse academics in league with like 1.5 million other people. That's the power that we have. So in the context of the politics we talk about here, that's the power that we have. An international soda-based pan-African radical. And we know what we mean by radical. Shout out to Kalanji and Daruba the other day. That was some slick stuff right there, boy. But we get it. We get it. Anyway, so that was it. I don't know if anybody has any comments, any questions, critiques, queries, conundrums. But yeah, the color of capitalism and nothing and no change. Like my buddy used to say about that other show, Democracy Never. Not now, not ever. It ain't gonna be never. Yeah, they was shooting. They was shooting. And um boy. Is soda real or realistic? Uh, uh, uh. I mean, we already know it's real. It already exists. The solidarity of dispersed Africans already does exist. So it's not a question of is it real. The question only remains, can it be radicalized and organized just like any other politic and made effective? So I don't know about cancel essence, but I think we should cancel what if anything should be canceled, it should be black capitalism, or the notion that capitalism and symbolic black excellence is a solution to anything. If it's just a matter of having festivals and gatherings where black people can get together and listen to music and hang out, I'm down with that. Just don't politicize it beyond that, and don't exploit local businesses. Maybe don't drag Coca-Cola into every daggone thing and have them sponsoring every daggone thing. I don't know. But if it's just a money grab, then yeah, get rid of it. But if it's actually, I mean, obviously, we started the show. We're gonna end it the same way. The being in spaces where black people are having a good time listening to music and blah blah is wonderful. It don't even matter. Do you think we have to go and everybody's on the same page politically? Hell no. Hell no. So I get it, but nobody's at the go either claiming that this is the revolution. I don't. It's hard for me to say. I'm not going to knock people getting employed, and I think really what I think people should do is go to our channel and watch the panel from that Black Radical Organizing Conference on nonprofits. Listen to people who have the right politics, who do work in those spaces, and how they deal with it and address it. That's what I think should happen. I'm not going to knock people for taking gigs, for getting work. It would be nice if they would stop fronting like they were the end all be all and they were the revolution, and that there's nothing valuable to their left politically. And if instead of, I mean, if you're going to work in something like Color of Change, just make sure that nobody is making hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's zero reason for any one person to be making that much money in an organization that is designed or claims to be about black people. And if you have the ability to pay for Manhattan high rises and security and hundreds of thousands of dollars in salary, then you have the money to get rid of all of that and redistribute it to do more work. Rashad Robinson is not irreplaceable as an intellect, as a spokesperson. So if having one person be that much of a figurehead and that popular and that promoted puts someone at risk, get rid of the position, redistribute the funds, have many more people doing lesser things. I mean, that would, so anyway, I'm not judging, but I just, my judgment really only comes at the point where people are promoting themselves as the leaders of some movement, because what they ultimately do and what they mean to do so that they can remain relevant and get their money is say that everybody to their left, and that's part of their function, everybody to their left is irrelevant and inappropriate, and that's partially what they're there to do. So, I mean, I don't work at a revolutionary institution. I'm just not claiming that Morgan State is the revolution either. So, I don't know. Oh, wait, that wasn't what I did. Your governor make 6 million while being in a nonprofit? I don't know. I don't know what Westmore. If you're talking about Westmore, I have no idea. Um, I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Actually, I don't know now. I mean, I don't know what money looks like in those spaces. Um, the Black radical tradition is the Black revolutionary tradition, as I understand it. Black freedom struggle because Black revolutionary. I appreciate Deborah's clarification. Yeah, I mean, look. Look, I honestly don't know for sure, but I watched it. I think we're doing too much by trying to assess the value of that. I think that it was shots fired. And it's not even to say that they're not legit shots. I just think we got some contradictions that we got to figure out, and I don't know exactly how to do it. I don't know what to do. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, Kim would probably know, uh, but Wes is. Um, yeah, I don't know, but anyway. All right, good people. That was really it. I'm glad to be able to get that off my chest and to share that with you all. I saw that story. Well, actually, a number of people were sending it and looking for us to have a discussion about it. So, like to hear it, here it go. Thoughts on mobilizing healthcare in reference to incredible work of the late great Matulu Shakur. I the same thing. We either need more John Q's or we need just more organization. I mean, or both. I mean, we saw one of my favorite. I don't know, one of the favorite accounts that I follow on Twitter put this out earlier, um, which I think was hilarious. But Ella Septima Hamer put this one out where Biden says, "On my watch, healthcare is a right, not a privilege in this country." And then it says here, readers added context they thought people might want to know. Joe Biden has never publicly supported universal health care or Medicare for all and has suggested he would veto bills that implement such a system. He stated policy goals is affordable health care achieved by expanding existing programs like the ACA and Medicare. And then this is the appropriate reaction. Shout out to the late Tupac Shakur. I mean, it's that's where we are. So if we want healthcare, we got to go. I mean, it's the same thing. I haven't been saying too much at this institute because I'm new and learning and actually enjoying being quiet in these spaces for the most part. But if at any point anybody asks my 2 cents, it'll be the same thing. We're not left enough. The most left political expression of the goals and aspirations of the folks gathered here that I've seen has been, well, really it's been discussions of developing strikes, which look for. But other than that, it's voting for Biden or whoever the next Democrat is, and I don't like tying my hopes to that. If the goal is uh, you know, uh, did you know the third annual DC Pan African Festival was today? It was put on by the Leadership Council of Pan African Nationalists. I had no idea. I have no idea. I'm not at all connected with any of those, as far as I know, any of those groups or folks. So I had no idea about that. Uh, well, first, everybody should go watch our discussion with the Greens from last night. I will likely vote for the Green Party nominee, and if that is in fact West, probably I'll vote for him, especially if Mumia is his running mate. Although I did hear a good critique of why that's not a good idea. I don't know if it's but just the idea that if Mumia's on the ticket, it'll just renew all of the cop killer language and would ruin the whole campaign. I think that's a legit consideration, but it still would be worth it to me to have. I mean, I don't think that the negatives don't outweigh the positives. I think, but it's a legit. I know Mick Jägermeister. That's true. Mobilization and organization are very different. You're right. You're right. Unions aren't the revolution though either, though. Unions are schools of socialism, not socialism in and of themselves. I hear you. Yep, yep. And I'm the rookie in these spaces. I'm not. It's clear there are people with way more, including yourself, way more labor movement experience. So this has been, and in terms of the inner workings of academia, the law, unions, labor, it's a very, and you could see the way like the electoral college type of nonsense and states' rights type of nonsense plays out in all of this. All the states got these different rules and regulations. It's hard to makes it harder to build national movements, which if you go back and read what the actual founders were saying with those Federalist Papers, that was part of the point. Oh yeah, the folks here that yeah, I mean it was explicitly said today that particularly in the area of student debt, that had it not been for Biden, we would be nowhere, and Trump would be a, a backwards walk on that issue. So, you know, I don't know. Oh, it's not black owned, and it's they didn't pay us, but it's an IPA. I like IPAs when it comes to beer. I admit that. I have a little. I'm bougie. I'm bougie with it. I have to admit that. I can't drink just any beer. I won't just drink any beer, but I like a good IPA. And this is a nice one. This is a nice one. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I mean, I mean, how do you make sense of Donahue? What happened to do? Was it just no? Remember specifically, I think it was 2003, and just in case there's any actual substance, in case this isn't just a joke. But remember in 2003, I think it was 2003 on MSNBC, Donahue had the highest rated show on the platform on the network, but he was against the reinvasion of Iraq, so they removed him. It was just that simple. And that's why I think it was funny that in 2005, I think he was literally one seat in front of me at the Media Reform Conference in St. Louis. And I remember looking at the back of of his gray, the famous gray hair. I was like, if Phil Donahue, and I admit it was like, because I've been watching dude my whole life, and I was like, if motherfucking Phil Donahue was sitting in front of me at a Media Reform Conference, we in no good shape. And you know whose presentation we were watching that day? Paul J. presenting his idea on the Real News Network. Boy, oh boy, we was all bamboozled. Woo! Woo! We was all bamboozled on that one. What's confused? I don't know. I missed something. Apple juice. Yeah. Actually, most apple juice got almost damn near as much sugar as beer. Uh, yeah. When it comes to beer, I am absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Drink a beer in a glass. Yeah. Well, it was also because I don't want to give free advertising. Straight up, I don't like doing that. I don't want to be like they, Duff. Yeah. No. I don't remember. I don't remember where that was that year. He got he got removed. And last I heard I don't know where he is, in Canada somewhere. But he got removed. And I was asked to submit a statement about what I thought the work environment was there. And I said it was everything I said to Paul. Everything I said to Paul, I wrote down. I at least feel good about that. He's And he's the last white man that got me upset too. Like for real upset, you know. But I what I liked about Paul, like, I mean, straight up, I thought he was clear on what his goals were. He knew how to, he had an idea of what he wanted, and he got the one white rich man out in California to fund him. And just like I told him, that's the only difference between you and me and everybody else. You're not that smart. You just got a rich benefactor. And then that's it. Um the real downfall, I tell this story all the time. I think it's hilarious looking back. The real downfall with me and the Real News Network is Daruba. It's Daruba's fault. Of course it's Daruba's fault. He came on my little whatever talking shit. Talking that Daruba stuff. And they didn't like it. Nobody, and I want to be fair, I'm not going to be any more explicit to this, but nobody at the Real News Network, no one in authority at the Real News Network, no one with any authority at the Real News Network liked what Daruba had to say. And they censored it. They took it off. They took it off they took the video down. And it was him specifically saying, in response to an Angela Davis interview on Democracy Now! Talking about Assata Shakur and claiming that Assata is innocent and should be brought back, Daruba's point was, don't be talking about people as being innocent as if they didn't know what they were doing, didn't understand the risks that they were taking, and weren't well trained to be doing exactly what they were doing. And to say that she's innocent takes away her agency and the consciousness that Assata brought with. And then he said, he made the point that he trained with her. And he reminded everybody that Angela Davis was not really in the party like that. Certainly was not in the BLA. And they took it down. And I was furious. And we had words. And it ruined my relationship. It ruined a lot of stuff for me up there. But that was it, It was also, we also have to be fair. Like my work, I don't think I was very good on the Real News Network. I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't allowed to, all the promises that had been made to me never happened. The work environment was a mess, but I just wasn't very good. So there wasn't like any deep desire to keep Jared on. And the other one that caused me problems when I had Paul Street, the white leftist journalist. He came on and was critical of Bernie Sanders from the left. They didn't like that. In fact, word came down from the money out west, you can't do that anymore. So I was like, are we being censored at the Independent? And we can't have a socialist critique of the Democratic Socialist candidate? But it was that Daruba piece. Daruba got me in trouble. That was the whole thing. Daruba ruined my whole Real News. No, I'm saying. But that was the one that did it. That's what, and yeah. And the full story, of course, is the context is even bigger than that, and is that it's not even the Real News' entire. It's not even Anyway, so that it was all like I was only there really as a sabbatical because of the issues I was having with Morgan. So this was the way Morgan could get rid of me for a year. The Real News could take me on for a year, and but it was not good. It was not good. I wasn't good. The work wasn't really great. I went back and was looking at some of my old stuff. I was like, So, but all that, even when we didn't agree politically, all that he had a lot of young people, like college people, really smart, but he just wasn't letting them work. He wasn't letting them cook. And he had and this is, I'll stop here because I'll stop here. But this was the thing. This is what I'll always rest on. That to me says everything. Paul J admitted to me in front of his partner who had done her master's thesis on Fanon that he had never read Fanon. And I said, Paul, that's ridiculous. I was like, and then you know what he said? Well, send me some links. And I said, Paul, imagine someone coming to you saying that they're a radical activist who had never read Marx. And then and them saying to you, oh, just send me some links. I was like, nah, man. I was like, your own spouse did her work, or partner did her own work on Fanon. You haven't, and so for that alone, you should read him. But then you claim to be a radical, and you haven't read Fanon, even if you wanted to be critical, you can't. So I can't. I can't. So I was like, but that to me said everything. But anyway, there we go. I'll just leave. We can, Oh no, this would never. I can't. Oh man. Doc Jab, RBN, and Paul J link up the younger people who don't know Paul J. What? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't even understand what that is. I don't know what. I'm sorry. Chris, please clarify. I'm not clear. BPM has to do an analysis on funding the nonprofit media press and the ad dollar decline. White press is moving in a nonprofit and getting the largest funding meant for anti-racism, blah, blah, blah. You're right. We should do more. I mean, we've done some of this. I've done some of this over the, I don't know, last couple of years here, in terms of the decline in funding. I remember during the last election cycle, we were talking a lot about the involvement of Act Blue and the investment in the promotion of Democratic Party politics on Black spaces and elsewhere. I mean, so, but you're right. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something to continue following and doing more. You, Jackie, and Kim need to do a talk on the Real News Network. I would do that. If they were up for it, I would absolutely do that. I got much more to say. I mean, I got much more to say. Oh, have you reviewed Hammer and Hoe yet? I know you hate on Buddy, and the book has some issues, but I think the channel would benefit from your review. I have. Oh, you missed that. You missed that one. I did. And in fact, because I talked about how oh man, now I don't want to mess up her name again. And I don't mean I'm not trying to be at all, but she told me I mispronounced her name. Derica Purnell. Is it Derica? But she responded on Twitter and disagreed. And I think I was being polite and fair, but I wasn't moved by her responses. And I haven't heard anything else from anybody else. But if I can find the video real quick while I'm scrolling, I'll put the link in the chat, or I'll put it in the show description later when I find it later. But yes, if you do go through BPM and look at I guess the Mix What I Like playlist, you'll find that review of the first issue. And I did. I mean, I remember I took umbrage. Is that the offense is probably a better word at I was a little offended. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's too strong. But when Robin Kelly said that basically everybody's pessimists and armchair revolutionaries but us at Hammer and Hope, I was like, really, word? Folks like taking a lot of sideways shots, man. I think we need. I'm very Deruba with this. Everything should be on the table except tactics and strategy, and I just think we should be able to have more direct disagreement and call people out that so like we don't have to have all these. But I don't know. I get it. I don't know. Anyway, I can't find it I was just trying to find it real quick, but the link, I'll find it later and add it to. There it is. Here it is. I found it. There it is. And I'll put the link in the chat now, and then I'll add it to the show description for this show later if anybody wants to check it out. But yeah, I'll be interested in your thoughts. Uh, appreciate you. Appreciate you. He did. But that wasn't so. So Paul J did say so. At one point, when he when he first when I first started there, because initially, see, I knew Paul. I mean, I knew Paul for a while, and that's part of like. There's so much more to say, but I knew Paul for a while. Um, well, I knew who he was, and we had interacted. I wouldn't say we knew each other, but we had interacted, and he years earlier had invited me to work with them, and I said no. And then when this whole thing with me and the School of Journalism was struggling, and the sabbatical thing came up, I said, okay, well, let me. And then the arrangement he and I had worked out sounded sweet. I mix what I like, would be my own thing, do my own thing. He was like, you can work with Bashi and another camera. I was like another little camera. So I thought I was going to have this little crew, and we were going to be able to he was like, do whatever you want. And then occasionally, you can fill in here or there. And then he said, at one point, he said, but when we launch this flagship daily news program, I'd like you to be the host. And I said, all right, well, I could, I don't know. And he said, but then he said, but you would have to wear a tie. And I said, I don't wear ties. So I was like, that's a wrap. And he said, well, our audience wants, he said, this was his argument was our audience wants a left critique in their news, but they want it presented in the traditional standard. So he was saying, well, our white audience wants white styled news, even if it's slightly to the left. And I was like, I don't wear ties. I'm not wearing a tie. And that was it. So he's like, well, we'll find something else for you to do. And I was like, cool. And that was it. It's always Daruba's fault. You damn right. But they did. They Oh my God, I was heated. Oh man. And what is that young woman's name? I still feel a little guilty. She was real cool and smart. Another one of the young, talented, hardworking people that got no, but she was in white girl, blondish hair. What was her name? Anyway, she was sitting in the office, and oh man, I was so like I hadn't been at that level in a minute. And Paul though, maybe it's because he had been locked up. Paul had done some time. Paul had been around working class people, and he liked to throw that around, and he liked to act like, I think, but he just leaned back in his chair and looked at me, which made it worse. Like I thought he was, the only other person to do that to me in my life was a Navy SEAL, and that time it worked because I read that moment correctly. Like my life was in danger if I kept aggressing in the way that. Man, it was hot. It was during Desert Storm. We was watching this in this hot ass room with no air conditioning. It's like 100 degrees in there trying to watch this little broken ass TV. And something was on TV that and he made a joke, something he offended me. I don't know what it was, but I just stood up and I was like, you mother. And he just looked at me and smiled. He just leaned back in his chair and smiled. And I saw that I was saw that little Navy pin, that little seal on his chest. I was like, oh, I forgot who I was talking to. And but I played it off. I was like, yeah. And I just kind of turned around and sat down and was like, woo. Yeah, I would have taken a big L on that one. And he knew it. But Paul had that same look in his eye that day. And I was like, wow, dude. Oh man, I was heated. But I felt bad for the young lady there. I was like, I don't think I've ever lost my temper like that in public, and wouldn't have wanted her to see that side. But I was heated, and then Paul said some shit about George Jackson too. I was like, oh man, you are really trying to see. But the only thing he didn't do was buck, and he didn't stand up. He didn't become aggressive. He didn't make any moves. So that it just de-escalated the whole thing. And I just walked out furious. But that's what they did. But they absolutely censored it. And everybody in the leadership at the Real News at the time was in agreement with that idea. And I was furious. And I said, why would you take it down? All you have to do is do a story. You could do any number of other videos critiquing that video. Bring you, I was like, you could get Angela Davis, you could get whoever you want. Do the video. Just don't censor. I was like, I couldn't believe they did that. Couldn't believe they did that. Yeah, it was bad. How red? How red did you light skin get that day of them? Say, I got red. It was red. There's no hiding my emotions. There's no hiding. I'm too light skinned to hide my emotions. That's why I don't gamble, and that's why I don't lie. Because I can't. I got no poker face. I get, especially if I'm sipping on something. I got no poker face. It's not, it'd be like giving up, just give away my money. You got people do analysis of white left media, Donahue, Paul J, Anonymous, whoever. I don't know. We should do that. I mean, in a way, if that's again a somewhat serious question, if I may, humbly, the chapter that AK Press publisher said they wanted me to take out of I Mix What I Like was about the white left and their media environment. And she said, well, maybe you should take out that chapter because that's part of your target audience. And I was like, no, it's not. And I was like, it's not coming out. And if they are, a white comrade would take the criticism to heart and consider it. They wouldn't be offended by it. Yeah, I don't encourage it. You should let those memories go. Yeah, Paul Street is pretty good. And I remember Dr. Burroughs and I did a good interview with him about his book on no, not his book, but with our similar critique of that book that I think David Garrow wrote about Obama. But they said even he, and it was the white dude out west with the money, said there will be no more. I was like, how do you have this white dude who I met? How do you have this dude out in California with all this funding everything, and this is supposed to be some independent, and he's going to sit out there and tell people you can't? But he told me, I was watching YouTube one day and I saw a Paul Street video. Not Paul Street. I saw a Paul J video and I called him immediately and wrote him a check for $1,000. And that was the beginning of our relationship. I said, wow. So, yeah. So, of all the people on YouTube, that's really what I was thinking of. All the people on YouTube, he was the one. I said, okay, that's why. Okay. And then you know what else he said? That building that they're in right now, he said, I could sell it today. The Real News could fold. I could sell it today, and I would make, I forgot, at least 10,000 in profit. At least I think it's more than that. Man, these dudes, man, this whole, it's just so whack. It's so whack. JB put out the pasture for a minute. He's organizing the backpack. Yeah. Hey, I mean, like my godfather says, I'm never surprised when I'm asked to leave. I'm only surprised by how long I've been invited to stay. And and I really have. I've enjoyed these last. I've made a conscious decision, and it's been paying off. I was like, all this talking you're doing on YouTube, you need to spend some time being quiet, like at the beginning. Back when I was, a young wannabe revolutionary, I sat quietly in so many meetings and spaces. Just shut up, listen, be quiet. Don't be so quick to run off and get you a nonprofit check. So yeah, I'm sitting in these rooms being quiet and listening and trying to figure some stuff out. and then we can bring it back here and build. And I really appreciate having this outlet to do it. Um, so shout out to all of you as well. Yeah, we about to hit 28,000. We need to let's get these likes and shares up and et ceteras and so forth. And a lot of great stuff coming out on the platform and more coming. New arrivals. We got more stuff coming. More diverse stuff coming in terms of the array of blackness and its distribution in the world. The jokes. Anyway, sorry to message you before explaining the problems with Paul J. I haven't seen them in a long time, but I remember I learned a lot from them in form. Yeah, I mean, again, I learned a lot too. I told Paul at the beginning of that sabbatical situation, those morning meetings at the editorial thing, he even said, I didn't have to be there. I wanted to be at those morning editorial meetings. Because initially, when I thought they were something else, I thought that was a brilliant way to start a day. 10 to 12 people sitting around a table talking about the news that they had been paying attention to from the night and early morning before, sharing what ideas should be covered and when and how would you do it, and people suggesting, and well, I'll help you get this and I'll look up a story for you on that and I'll put you in touch with so and so, and it was dope. And then it just very quickly became, and you could see the attitude and the people change. And I wrote this. I told Paul, I told Charmony, and then I wrote some of this in the statement that it just became something else. And it just became like a listen to Paul's, do what Paul says. Don't really have nothing to say. And he would scream on people. All this talk about Chris Hedges lately, Chris Hedges' son was on that team. And he screamed on Chris Hedges' son one day, like in a way that I emailed him afterwards. It was like, Paul, you can't be doing that. I was like, I would never accept being spoken to that way. I was like, I don't know. And I said, I know people in the journalism world, would always tell me, well, you're just a critic, you're a scholar, so you don't know how the newsroom works. You're like, you damn right. If that's how the newsroom works, I don't want to be there. You can motivate me to do a good job without cussing at me and screaming at me. Like, how dare you talk to me like that? Or I was offended. I was like, how dare you talk to somebody like that in my presence? Like, that was uncomfortable. How wrong could this dude be? And honestly, I was thinking of Chris Hedges. I was like, I don't care how old my son is. I don't care if he's 40. You talk to my child like that, we got a problem. We got a problem. And especially now that I got, man, then they told me my babies were a problem when they came. They said I couldn't bring my children there anymore because they were disruptive. My little babies running around putting man, get out of here, man. It's like, you don't deserve their presence. Black Power, he's talking about the book, not the online magazine. You talking about Hammer and Hope, like Robin Kelly's book. Oh, my bad. Oh, shit is dope. That's my review. I would have to. My bad. Oh no, this is not. We nowhere near. No, this is just me in a good mood. We know where this is not the beer. Trust me, we nowhere near that getting involved. Oh man. Anyway, not even a bow tie. You funny. Yeah, the car academics in cars, they were dope. I would love to do that again. Yeah. Um, Paul hired Eddie Conway. He always has to get credit for that. I can't front on that. He has to get credit for that. And maybe some would say everything else is worth it. I don't know. Nah. No levitations. Navy SEAL was Y2 was what? Wait, Navy SEAL was 2Y2. I'm not. Maybe I'm missing something. I just abandoned Navy SEALs. Y'all are funny. Big pun is in the building. No, I that was just a mistake. That would have been a mistake. You got to know your limitations, man. You can't be and whatever I might feel about the military, them SEALs are no joke. Oh, it doesn't say anything. It's just the it's salamanders forming infinity, the figure eight. It was something I had it as a necklace when I went to Nigeria, not Nigeria, to Kenya, and I lost the necklace and had it redone as a tattoo because you can't lose it. But that's all it is. It's the only tattoo I have. Yeah, like hit the like button, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Yes, we are growing, absolutely, and we're continuing to grow. Yeah, let's get to we definitely got to get to 30,000 by the end of the year. Come on now. I'm thinking by the end of the summer. Appreciate you, McYagermeister. Appreciate you. Canadian nice is folklore. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Uh, mm, 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 mm. Absolutely. And usually when someone hollers at you in those situations, they feel you don't recognize their authority. Yeah, well. There's no Ghostface Killer bathroom. No, that's my hoodie. You can get it at blackpowermedia.org. That's just my hoodie. Because even when I'm on the road, I got more BPM gear and merch than Kamau. Yeah, salamanders. You know what I mean? Oh, DJ RBI, my man, among the baddest DJs on the planet and one of the best brothers on the planet by far. Big shout out to you, RBI. I hope all is well, man. Good to see you. And I'm very sorry I missed that show. And I'm not playing. I put it up on Instagram. When I saw the Diamond District joint, I hope you all are doing that more regularly, or I'm just not, maybe you already do and I'm just not up on it. But the Diamond District DJs, I saw that. I was literally, I promise you, I was on my way to this conference and I thought for a second, man, you know what? Damn this institute. They'll be all right without me. I'm going to, I was like really considering turning around and going. I was already at the gate too. I was about to walk all the way back out and take my girls to that show, but that would have been irresponsible. That would have been irresponsible. Thank you, Brooke, for the super chat, for the backstory on these platforms, waiting on the DN stories. I don't have any Democracy Now stories. Mine are, I don't know about others on the platform. Mine are very short. Kamal's on Democracy Now all the time now, apparently. Mine are very short. They don't mess with me. And I've only ever been mentioned on Democracy Now as a straw argument for Vincent Harding to knock me out the park in my absence. May he rest in power. But yeah, Jared, are you carrying your book about like Eric Dyson? Nah, I don't have. No, in fact, the only book I have here. Oh, it's under the lap. I'm using it under the laptop. Is the AAUP Red Book. That's the only one I have. I know. Leave Kamal alone. What's up, Time to Seize Way? And I'm looking forward to your collabo coming up with Kalanji regarding Brother Matulu. And again, it's ridiculous in juxtaposing this color of change nonsense that we have to deal with that while we lose Matulu. So thank you, bro. The event was good. Wait till August. I'm only gone. I think I'm only gone a little bit in August. So please yeah, I will do everything possible to be there because. And by the way, if anybody is not, the Diamond District is another is it's a reference to DC, which is in many ways looks like a diamond, not not the rock. And the Diamond District DJ collective, if I'm getting it right, is a crew of DC area based DJs, including RBI. You tell me who else. Two Tone Joe. I don't know who else was there, but I've only seen the full crew. I can only remember really once live. No, I think twice. No, twice. And it's just dope. It's just a whole bunch of different DJs mixing, off of each other, taking turns, building off of each other's sets, and it's just dope. And they all know what the hell they're doing. Real DJs. Like so it's and if you like the craft of the DJ, you have to appreciate. You can't not and they know all I mean they're just dope. It's just fantastic. So like when I go see a live band, I want to see the drummer. When I go to a show, I like a hip hop show, I like to be able to see a real DJ do their thing. So anyway, Dr. Ball, will you do a case study like Sim City illustrating how your economic philosophy would operate a town, county, or state? No, no. But again, that's being done. In fact, that's why I'm trying to do that slow motion review of socialist reconstruction from the Party for Socialism and Liberation. I think in terms of a practical next step to what a society based on this world might look like, that's as good as I've seen in terms of developing what that would um because my economic philosophy, my work doesn't deal with an overall economic philosophy other than to say black capitalism is wrong. So that is, part of where people critique me all the time that I don't have enough of a solution in that work. And I'm saying, but the book isn't meant to do that. So something around, but I mean, I like the idea, but I think the Socialist Reconstruction book does a version of that. And I think when Coco does her review of my review of Socialist Reconstruction from a nationalist perspective, I think we'll get even more of a. So that's what I like about BPM and what I've always sort of fantasized about what we're doing here. I don't have the solution. I don't think any of us have the answer. We have to put it together as a collective. So what I offer, Coco will respond to, Jackie can respond to, Kalanji, everybody puts their, and then we can sort of figure it out from there once we get offline and off these YouTube streets. Like, don't forget, this is just to have a little bit of fun, critique, and advocate for certain behaviors that ultimately have to be offline. So I don't, but no. Get Kamau a BPM t-shirt to wear on Democracy Now. Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, right on RBI. Rest in power, rest in peace to Matulu. Oh man, we too old. That's so silly. But it would be. Oh man, who wouldn't pay for that? Who wouldn't show up? Who wouldn't become a BPM member for a members only KVK? But the reality is Kamau and Kalanji represent symbolically a lot of where we all are. And they represent, again, metaphorically, what we all have to overcome. I mean, these are two brilliant brothers who are right on so many different things. And to my previous point, neither one has all the answers. So we have to find. I appreciate you, Cynthia. Thank you very much. And I love being able to do it. It's great that we have this platform. We can do this. And what else would I be doing on a Saturday night in Burlington, Vermont? So I mean, like honestly, at this hour, I'm not going to be reading. I'm not going to be doing any heavy studying. I would have read that article and laughed and said what I said, probably to somebody else with more cuss words in it. Here we go. Diamond cutters. That's the word I forgot. Thank you. RBI two-tone, Roddy Rod, Quartermain, dial tone, funk regulated, CeeLo, DJ Book, stylist, just oh my God, that's the soul control. Look. It's not your fault, everybody. It's not your fault that you weren't born in the DC area at a certain time in a certain part of it's not your fault. But right there on this screen, so I mean, these some viciously, I mean, really legendary contributors to not just the DC area hip hop history, whatever, but beyond that, to college radio, to Maryland, to Virginia, to international, to whatever. Like that's crazy. Yeah, that's dope. I gotta go. I'm almost mad. As much fun as I've had learning this weekend, I'm almost mad that I didn't walk away. I was so serious. I'm not even playing. I'm not at all joking. I took a long, like at one point I even turned and took even a step towards the other way. Like I was really struggling. I was really, really struggling not to get to, I was like, man, I'm about to walk out of here, send an email apologizing, tell the girls plans have changed. Oh my God, that's terrible. Doc Jab cheating. That's like 8 DJ Vader. Can't be nothing but a mean ass teen. Yeah, I mean it's vicious. It was vicious. I mean, we need footage of what? Of the Diamond Cutters event? They should. Like, are you all RBI? Like, are you all doing that? Oh my God. RBI. I forgot about that. That's right. Yo. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. I don't think folks understand. I don't think folks understand what's about to happen. RBI. Hold up. Somebody tell me take it down because I'm playing this. but this is
you can't run to every new thing under the sun. You
come
be
on.
a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Somebody text me if we get knocked off the stream. If we do, I love you all. It's worth it. Oh my God.
Soon come, you will understand the motivation of a man getting the underhand. A local yokel on a mission to get global. Letting my vocals amass to some total and keep the point focal. You hear me, but you don't listen. You think it's easy being put in this position? I freak speech, but still don't want to preach. Just deep thought and stimulate movement out of the seats. Grab your gat, hit the streets. That's the rally cry to war horn. The occupants, some cats are spiritually war torn environment. So I'm leading a community movement, and I don't need money for me to make a community improvement. Tell me what you stand for. Will you settle for less, or do you
studio when they were working on Mood Swing, but I didn't say okay. Well, you was in the building. You put your energy on it.
No like sweet chariot.
I can feel your good energy on this joint.
Barry's get chariot like a torch. Give birth to rhymes for me, beast, then I'm married and more.
Ruined my chance to get on this podcast.
Rhymes Rolling Stone. Home is where the hi-hat is at. It's on its own. Maybe one day it'll settle down. It ain't no good, it's all better now. Come on, let it now.
Swing, changing the way we do things. It's a good thing. Listen to the whole hood sing as they go. La 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 la, yeah, as they go. No fear, time, no doubt and no worry. Everything in its own time, there's no hurry.
Oh man.
Me and baby in the rental, talking gentle, hit the hotel, the presidential. Sweet kisses on the temple, make it feel special.
And when we were doing Jazz and Justice on
sentimental, move right with the light just so I can see. Begin to set the pace for
I had created a nice little blend with the original so that the jazz heads could appreciate it.
Indian, Oriental, blacking out the shit I can't rap about. Passing out, waking up, not awake, waking up to take it up and not stop. Lovers and friends never know.
We DJ when they perform.
So we got a leash. Asked if she could come again.
That's right. Shout out to Raheem Devon.
Studio, I'm running late. You know I hate to make a nigga wait, but damn, baby, you look
good in the summertime.
Give me some of yours, I'ma give you some of mine.
Yo, Quali, I remember being in the same dilemma. Hip hop was number one, my girl was number one contender. The great pretender with a whole different agenda. Until I make it big, life is one long gig. Swing like Ella or Coltrane. It's classic like Soul Train. The timeless, just like this rhyme is. So all of y'all, bandwagon the campaign. Grab a hold of that mood swing and do the damn thing.
Yes.
Changing the way we do things is a good thing. Listen to the whole hood sing as they go.
La 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 la.
Yeah, as they go. La 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 la. You can't run to every new thing under the sun. You be a jack of all trades and a master of none. Move swinging, swinging, move swing, swinging, move swinging, swinging, move swing, swinging. I'm an outlet, a funnel for shit you ain't figured out yet. A resource. I pivot your efforts on the
all
right
the people
course
that
to
left
teach
alive
ya.
during this
Doing whatever
song,
it takes to reach ya. All of it's
you've
in
lost
me,
some cool
but
friends.
really it's in me. A good brother, loving son, a great lover. I'm a truth seeker on a quest, not a believer. I'm an MC for all of the world to see, and you got my word on it.
I put the herd on it.
That we rap shit. It's the least to be expected. Fuck that prep shit. Jump on stage like we connected from the same mind, saying the same things at the same time. Backstage rapping like getting ready for game time.
RBI is the truth.
And ain't nothing going to change that for better or worse. Like somebody prearranged that the way it is, the way it always will be. So I can be still and still be. So far, we will witness a shift in consciousness, and black music is one of our greatest accomplishments. I aim to live on this monument so that our kids can hold up their heads with confidence. That's when our nation will rise and realize that my comprehension is just too complex. 1 minute from the next, go from happy to vexed.
Yeah. See, change is good sometimes. Mood swing. It's time for the essence of rhyme. Time to move swing.
Ear doctors don't know about this. You don't know about these DC deep cuts.
Move swing. Move swing with me.
Yes. That means it's good. Lemons me that lemonine makes it good. Yo. RBI, man, I appreciate you, man. It's been an honor to know and to get to work with you a little bit, man. So, you know, it's very easy to give you props, man. And anybody, good God, man. If you get, I just saw a picture. There was a picture came up in our iCloud family photo thing of me sitting at an RBI show in DC. You were spinning at some spot. I had showed up. And the picture's me. It was actually I got bad news that night. My initial bid for was it full? I think my initial bid for Full Professor got rejected that night. But you were doing, I think it was a Prince tribute. I can't remember. It was so dope. The music was so dope. The bad news didn't interrupt one goddamn thing. And then of course I came back and got it the next year, so it's all good. But whatever. I just remember, yeah. We still got work to do, man. Hey. I'm gonna make some shit up to work with RBI. I'm gonna just concoct some shit. Anyway, no, I'm not playing the mix. RBI is not here. I just wanted to play that one track that got brought up. It's a fan favorite around here. So anyway, look, man, I would love to sit here all night long, but I feel like we just, remember, I Mix What I Like was never an actual DJ project. I've never been a DJ. It was meant to demonstrate what I thought was the potential for the mixtape to do some good work. Yeah, let's go. I'm gonna figure something out. I'm gonna figure something out. Don't oh man, don't let me anybody run into Damu the Fudge Monk in DC. I don't think I know who that is. You would have to ask RBI about that one. Yeah, Mood Swing is a top 5 collab. I agree with that. That beat is just so ridiculous. I mean, and it is true. By the way, is it yeah, I guess it would be inappropriate to acknowledge. Never mind. Yeah, right. Oh, you okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I knew RBI would know him. Of course. So anyway, listen, I appreciate all of you for coming through. Just a quick recap. We have to do better and find ways to organize ourselves better. And really, I think we need to be more aggressive at challenging the claims of the non-profiteers as they speak for all of us in our movements. I think we need to be more vocal in calling them out and not let them shout us down from their platforms. I appreciate it. It was my favorite project to this day. I really loved that project, and I think the idea was great. I think I was late. But the idea was a good one. It was just late. Oh, he named a song after. Yeah, that's deep. Yeah. Absolutely. Make sure you all follow RBI. Look him up. And if you got a budget, need a DJ, holler at him. And if you're in the DC area or wherever he ends up, be there. Even if you might have to walk out of a flight. Even if you have to leave a gate. Don't be like JB. Turn around and go to the show. Otherwise, please do continue to check out the platform, like, share, subscribe. Definitely hit the like button. Make sure you have that bell rung so you don't miss things when I do a pop-up or other things are popping up. And more shows are coming. Tanta Sizwe Chimarenga's show is coming. Her collaboration with Kalanji in a couple days around Matulu is coming. The Remix Morning Show, Sundays tomorrow. I got to go back. I was in a session today, so I got to go back and watch Warrior Class from earlier. Yeah, all of that. And with that, I think we're gonna let's rock out the way we started, and I will catch you next time here at I Mix What I Like and throughout all the other shows and wherever else on the platform. And yeah, thank you, everybody. Peace only if you're willing to fight for it, like Fred Hampton used to say. Catch you next time. Let's have a good time.
What I like.
I love to see my people party with me, man. Good to see you, Black Brown.
Thank you.
Sweet Nikita, Miss Rhonda.
I do get happy when I see you all.
Happy birthday, Miss J. Hey,
Have a good Saturday night. Stay safe.
Party with me all night long. Say what?
Indeed. Stay safe,
baby.
everybody.
Bring it to the front.
This goes out to
Hey,
you.
Janine. Well, guess what? Hey, when I see you, yeah, I get a little happy. Hey, Black Brown, I get a little happy when I see you. What? Baby, when I see you,
Man, I haven't heard that in a minute.
I get
love
a
the
little
mix.
happy.
I love the mix.
Hey, Francine, I get a little happy when
Yes,
you
indeed.
work
Rest
with
in
me.
power, Dr. Matulu.
Well, guess what? When I see you, yeah. Hey, Jay. Hey, Randy. I get happy when you party with me. Guess what? When I see you, yeah. Hey, Cole. I get a little happy. Happy when I see you. What? When I see you, yeah. stomach is a pain. See you walk in my direction, I go the other way. I start to stutter when I speak. Try to stand, but my knees go weak. What's happening to me? Anybody can you tell me what it means? I lay my head on my pillow. He got me staring out the window.
Good suggestion, Silberg. Thank you.
That's the reason why. Oh, yeah. Hey, see you. Hey, Marlon, you sexy boy. Hey, oh no. When I see you. Hey, fellas, listen. I scribble X and O's on my notebook, checking out my hair and my nails. I feel myself up in the zone.
I listen all the time, but this is just my official or unofficial anthem for the show. That's all.
Should I send an email at home? I wonder if you know, or do you have a clue? Yeah, I lay my head on my pillow. He got me staring out the window. Was on a time for a sign. That's the reason why. Yeah.
I think Rare Essence is playing tonight too. If you're in DC, you can go see them.
Marlon, so sexy boy. Oh no. When I see you. Listen, something now is taking over me. Ooh, yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna run, I'm just gonna stand here and see. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh no. See you. Sing it so sexy,
drum.
boy. Yeah. Oh no. When I see you. Hey, Fox, hold me down.
Oh,
Listen.
right on.
Well, guess what? When I see you, yeah. Hey, sweet Savita. Hey.
Yeah, Smith, this is just, I just like
Happy
this
when you party
version.
with me. Hey, Janine. When I see
Got a little connection to the band.
I get a little
And I think this
happy.
video
Hey, Tony. I
captures
get a
the
little happy
vibe.
when you
That's
party
all.
with me.
But I know you know what you're talking about. There's a lot of other great bands out there.
See you, yeah. I get a little happy.
All right, everybody.
Hey, Marlon, I get a
Take
little
good care.
happy when you
Thanks
party
again
with
for
me.
coming through.
Hey, Jay, when I